from J Targs 23. What is the floor for ranked quarterback Aaron Rodgers has to play at for the Jets to be contenders to win the AFC? Like, I think if he plays as the 12th or 13th best QB in the league, they're still a force. I think rankings came out today. I forget who put them together. Had Rodgers as like the 8th best quarterback in the league. Fair. I mean, look, everyone's going to have their own opinion. I could see him ranked as high as like 4 or 5. I could see him ranked as high as like low as like 11 or 12. He hasn't played a lot. He didn't play last year, and the year before he wasn't himself. So I don't begrudge someone who'd be like, look, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, Stroud.
I would say, would you put Stroud over him?
I wouldn't. I would not yet. I think like if I'm taking a quarterback for the next 5 years, of course I'm taking Stroud.
Yes.
But for the next 1 year, no, Stroud's not there yet. But I'm sure plenty of people will rank him higher. You know, again, worse. I think Rodgers 8 probably sounds about right to me. I think if he's a top 10 QB, even if it's 9th or 10th, the Jets should be good enough to win 10 or 11 games because they're going to have a top 5 defense. If Rodgers is a top 10 quarterback, they probably have a top 10 or 11 offense with Breece Hall, with their offensive line, with Garrett Wilson. If he's a top 10 quarterback that assumes he's playing 13, 14, 15 games in my mind, that's the recipe for the Jets being 10-7 or 11-6, which is roughly where I think they will be. If he's better than that, that's when you talk about winning 12 or 13 games. That's a different kind of conversation. They don't need him to be the best quarterback in football. I don't think he'll be the best quarterback in football. It's not fair to ask him to be that at this stage of his career, but could he be the 7th best quarterback or the 8th best? If he is, that's the best we've gotten from a Jets quarterback since 98, probably, really, with Vinny. Maybe that Pennington year. I don't even think that Fitz year he got high enough to say that. Maybe. But if he's that and you have a top 10, a top 5 defense and a top 10 offense, and you know they'll have a top 10-ish at worst special teams with Boyer, they're going to probably be 11-6. And if you're 11-6, you're probably winning the AFC East. You probably have a home playoff game where you're a favorite. And that's where we believe they want to be. That's our mantra for this season. Playoff beers in the parking lot at MetLife. I'm not going to begrudge them if they don't get a bye, because only one team gets a bye now. If this was the old model, I'd say you really want to be one of those 2 teams who gets a bye. If they're not that team who's the 13-4, 14-3 this year, I can't kill them for it, because the regular season could be weird and funky. I mean, that wasn't the Chiefs last year. The Chiefs had to beat the Dolphins in the first round, and they ended up being fine. The Ravens got the bye, didn't end up, ultimately mattering. They'll probably be in contention to get the bye again. They're a very good regular season team. But I'll take Rodgers at that threshold. I mean, where do you rank him right now, like among NFL quarterbacks in the 1-year vacuum of this season?
You would think 8 to 12. I think that's pretty fair. I mean, we kind of went through it. And I get the people that kind of go back. They go back to 2 years ago and they're like, oh, well, he wasn't that good. And it's like, okay, I think number 1, that's a little bit of a stretch. 2, he was playing hurt most of the year. 3, do we really think that Green Bay team was like that great that year?
No.
So, yeah, exactly. So it's tricky. I'm looking at it right now. So this was I want to make sure I have. This is the top 10 quarterback rankings by coaches and execs. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, Stafford at 5. I always say Stafford is much more appreciated by NFL players, NFL coaches, and NFL executives than the typical NFL fan and media. And I completely align with the side that he's better than people give him credit for. Like, Stafford is phenomenal. So I have no problem with Stafford being 5. 6 Herbert, 7 Stroud, 8 Rodgers, 9 Goff, 10 Dak. I still think Dak, the disrespect for Dak just blows my mind. I might put
him below
Dak,
Goff feels like.
Yeah, and I might put Dak over Rodgers, but I know Dak, you got to get it done in the playoffs at some point. That's what everybody kind of leans on. Dak was really good last year. So yeah, Rodgers at 8, that's fine. I guess you could say you could put him as high as 6, because there's a world where he's been, better than Herbert and Stroud over obviously a longer period of time. You could put him at 10 and say recent history, like Stroud, Goff, Dak were better. So yeah, somewhere in that 7 to 12-ish kind of range. Now, to win the AFC, I guess you kind of put the exercise like this. The Jets defense, in theory, should be better than Kansas City's, Cincinnati's, Buffalo's. Baltimore, doesn't matter who they pull in and out of there. They just always feel like they have a top defense every year. So I'm not going to go as far to say Baltimore, although you never know. The Chargers are going to be really good under Harbaugh. I don't know if this is the year, because he inherited almost nothing defensively, but it's coming for them. But everything for the Jets matters on this year. So, yeah, I think if he plays like the 7th best quarterback in the NFL, the Jets can win the AFC. That's pretty fair, right? I mean,
I think it's more than fair with the rest of their roster.
Right.
There's too much talent elsewhere. Like, they have the best corner in football, the best cornerback trio in football, arguably a top 3 interior defensive lineman, arguably the best inside linebacker duo in the NFL. One of the 3 best, if not the best, well, let's call him one of the 3 best running backs in football in Breece Hall.
Easily.
Top 15 receiver in Garrett Wilson,
Yep.
top 15 edge rusher in Hassan Reddick, top 20 rusher at least in Jermaine Johnson. I mean, you guys know the team. Like, it's one of the 3 best rosters in the AFC, I think.
Right.
Even if you're pessimistic. So if Rodgers, you got a top 10 quarterback, man, you're going to be good in the NFL. That's kind of like the most important thing, right? Hey, if you have one of the 10 best quarterbacks, you're going to be one of the 14 teams that makes the playoffs unless something goes horribly wrong. So I sign me up for that. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, it's not as difficult as we have to make
complicated.
It's not. You look at it, the Jets won 7 games last year, and they were getting 30th quarterbacking. I might be
35th below
35th.
college teams.
Yeah. And now you jump that all the way up into top 10-ish. That is a colossal difference. Like, that is a jarring difference. So, yeah, I think now obviously the question of it winning the AFC, it makes it, that's a big stretch because of the Titans in front of you. And I don't mean the Tennessee Titans. I mean the Titans that are Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like all of those question marks. But yeah, I don't think Rodgers needs to be MVP Rodgers for the Jets to be very, very good.
All right, before we wrap, Underdog promo code Badlands, 50% deposit match up to $250. Home Run Derby special live, MLB All-Star Game special live. We have one spot left in our best ball draft for July. As soon as we fill it, Connor's unlocking our next MLB draft. So we're looking for one more brave soldier to join me, Connor, and 3 of our other friends. Sign up. We'll link it in the bio. Promo code Badlands for a deposit match up to $250. We're very close to our best ball picks. We will do a fantasy-centric episode as the season gets a little closer. We know we got some requests for that. So sign up. Join the draft now. I'm going to close with a selfish question before we go to the pod. This is from Andy, because we always hit King of the Discord Andy's questions, no matter what. And this was more for me and Will, so I'll let Will answer it. And Connor, you saw me play flag football once when we were like 20.
I was going to say, so, that was, was that 10?
2011, 2010?
No, I think it was later than that.
2013, maybe?
I think
it was on the Jets.
It was. Oh, you're right.
So it couldn't have
it's
been
11
later than
years
2012.
ago. Wow, that's crazy.
We're old. We're old.
We are old.
Based on your athletic abilities, who did you or who would you currently try to emulate, past or present, when you played college football? Did you watch tape on any pros that you felt matched your skill set, and who would your player comp be? I talked about this a little bit randomly on Sunday Coffee. Of course, my favorite player growing up, maybe not of course, but my favorite general NFL player was Randy Moss. I was a receiver. For a while, I was taller than everybody.
I would say you're tall.
Up through freshman year of high school, I was like abnormally tall for like a North Jersey tiny high school wide receiver. So that was my game. But then everyone started getting taller, and I didn't really get any faster. So I just settled into being a possession receiver. So it was pure Jericho Cotchery, just sitting in windows, catching the ball, and kind of just getting down after. Didn't have a ton of yak. Cotchery was better with yak with me. That was my guy. He's always been my favorite Jet receiver, up there with my favorite Jet player ever, along with Curtis Martin and a couple others. So that was my guy. I was a huge fan of him. Other NFL receivers I liked a lot coming up I was a big Isaac Bruce fan on the Rams. He was awesome.
I mean, that offense
on those Rams was just like
insane,
ridiculous. So that was a guy that always kind of jumped off the page to me. But that's my best answer. You only got to see me play flag football that one time. I mean,
but you made plenty of plays. Yeah. Plenty of plays. I feel like we were pretty decent. That was a long time ago, that tournament, man. And then somewhere, because people would ask us, well, did you win the tournament? The tournament had to stop because somebody broke their leg. Remember that?
Yes, that was insane. And Holmes came out and volunteered to pay for the surgery.
Paid for all, yes. Antonio paid for all the guys' medical expenses, as far as we know. And the tournament ended right there. So that is, that was a wild day when I look back at it. It's crazy how time flies. But
yes.
Maybe we'll get Badlands in another flag football tournament somewhere for charity.
For charity.
It's a great charity idea. That's what it was for. Yeah. It was for Holmes' foundation. I would love to get that going again. Just get all the Jets content creators and subscribers and everything in a tournament. It's a little tough to pull off, for a date that works for everyone in a place, but it would be a lot of fun. That was a great day.
Absolutely. War Room, thank you for listening. We're going over to the pod next week. 60-minute plus training camp special, War Room only. Me, Connor, hopefully Dan, hopefully Paul. There'll be more than just me and Connor. We're going to rotate everybody in. But that's our special. I'll rebump the one we did last year. Look out for that next Tuesday night as camp starts. Thank you for listening. Check out badlandstoj.com. Still got some merch left. Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.